Did you know that you are in control of the most complex thing in the known universe? You get to control a human body. The human brain, with its trillions of networked cells, this remarkable body that somehow runs on its own. So let's take a step back. What is this machine? And who is the driver? Am I driving the machine? Are you driving the machine? Is the machine driving the machine? We're going to explore in this video a topic that I find very, very, very interesting, and underutilized technology, in my opinion, that most people don't really know about. It's called channeling. My guitar almost fell over. Oh gosh. Channeling is really, really interesting. It's really cool. And the first time I heard about it, I thought it was ridiculous and crazy. And it wasn't until I started to research it and started to look into it more that I saw the validity within it and the remarkable capabilities that we have to learn from it. So what is channeling? First, let's take a look at the human body. Me, Michael Armstrong, the soul, the thing that animates this body, the character, the personality, is the driver. And my soul is essentially being channeled into this body, and I get to move my arms around all crazy, do some dances, and speak. So I'm speaking, and it looks like I'm just a body that's talking, but really there's a consciousness that goes by the name Michael Armstrong, who is speaking as a spirit through this physical body. So the basic idea is that my soul, my consciousness, exists separate from the body. I can enter a state with like a frequency state within my mind, let's say a hypnotic state, or people can do it just on their own, in which my consciousness kind of takes a back seat and another consciousness can speak through me or through my body. Now, I personally can't channel. I haven't yet. I'm sure I could if I tried and was trained to, but I haven't yet felt that was quite relevant to do. So here I am talking about it. One of the things that I love about channeled material is that it feels to me very pure, and it feels like a voice that is trying to help humanity, is trying to help people live the best life possible and help us through these difficult times right now that we live in, where so many people are just statistically depressed. Having a voice that is sharing ancient wisdom is pretty cool. So here's a book, The Raw Material. This is a channeled book. A group of people in the 80s had a recorder, and a woman channeled Ra, like Ra the sun god from the Egyptian days. This is the same Ra that was channeled, except back then they distorted the message, turned it to a god to try to control the masses, which happens all the time. Come on, guys. And this group channeled him, which refers to itself as a social memory complex, which is consciousness like humans, but way, way, way evolved beyond human consciousness into more of an energetic consciousness that exists in a realm outside of time and space as a collective. And so there's 5 of these books that are literally dictations about humanity, how we got here, what this reality is, why this exists, how we can make our lives better. Here's the woman who is channeling the materials. Her name is Carla, and she was a religious person who actually found it to be quite curious, because what does religion say about channeling? Who knows? There's a lot of fear in religion, but I like to keep an open mind. And as a side note, the raw material is available online for free. They uploaded the whole thing as like a PDF or as a searchable website. So you can search it all. You can even hear all the audio files. This takes a step back from regular reality. You know, you've got like regular reality where you watch TV shows, go to the movies, watch the news, wake up, go to work. And then you've got a reality that's a little bit beyond that, which is, well, when you die, you come back here and you just keep doing this game of life over and over until your soul has learned enough and grown enough and experienced enough to where you can ascend to new versions of reality. And that's sort of a more expanded view. And within that expanded view of reality, there are other souls or personalities that can speak. People can ask questions, can ask the person questions. And what you end up with is really interesting material. Right now, what I'm reading is Seth Speaks, which is really, really fascinating, in which a woman started to channel a soul that doesn't live on Earth. And as she was channeling it, he was like, okay, so I'm gonna write a book and you don't have to worry about really anything. And he proceeded to say, here are all the chapters of the book, literally just wording like chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3 is about this, chapter 4 is about this. And we're gonna start with chapter 1. Okay, go. And over the next few months, every time she went into this channeled state, he'd pick up right where he left off and just channel the book. And the whole thing is like a manual for living a good life and really helping people understand what this reality is so that we can come from a more empowered place and live a great life. And that's why I really enjoy and appreciate these channeled messages, in that it usually is just really good material for understanding more about this place that we exist in. I didn't really start believing that channeling was even possible or real until I started to read or watch some of the channel materials, and what they were saying, I was like, okay, yeah, that person definitely cannot be speaking that clearly on these truths so far outside of the realm of what anyone really knows about, and on such a consistent basis for so long that it started to become very, very real. And now it's just, I mean, for me, it's common. I have friends who channel, and I read mostly channeled materials, and it gets into really interesting places in that there are higher conscious beings that exist in the universe that can channel from where they are, because all consciousness is connected into, and this is through time and space, consciousness is connected. So you could have someone from a very long time ago channel into the present moment, which is what a lot of Dolores Cannon's materials are all about, which is like past life regression, hypnotherapy, all of that. Very similar in channeling. The wording is a little bit interesting because in order to define it, we need words, but the words we don't currently have to fully match what is taking place when channeling occurs, but channeling, that's what we're gonna call it. Fun word. One of the interesting things that was channeled in the raw material in this book was the concept of different densities. So consciousness goes through these different densities. Like we have the first density, which is rocks, minerals, basically like a chair, you know, things that are stationary, but on an atomic level, it's still very active and very much alive and very energetic. And it has a consciousness and it has its own version of conscious awareness. It's just so outside of the realm of what we're used to that it's more basic. And then we have level 2, which is the second density, which is animals, plants, living things, things that move, things that grow. And then we have third density, which are humans, which are self-aware creatures who have communication skills, can look up at the sky and ponder life and death and the universe and God and existence and all of that. A higher sort of density, higher, more complex network that we're working with here. And then we have all the stuff above that. Let's say 1,000 years from now, humans evolve into a more energetic creature, an energetic being, telepathy, things like that, connection, instant manifestation, and then above and beyond, which just gets into very interesting like networks of consciousness that are all working together. And what I love about channeled materials is that it talks about the universe in ways that science currently doesn't know. Science only is an observation, test, and get results, where channeling is asking the questions to someone who has the cheat sheet, has the answers to all of the questions. So you can ask these higher density, higher conscious beings anything, and they will answer. And what I find fascinating is what they talk about human history, and that there have been civilizations that existed on this planet, and in between civilizations, things have gone wrong, and the civilizations have been completely wiped out. The Earth's plates shifted, everything kind of got erased and started over. Really interesting things. Even talking about how there used to be a civilization on Mars when it looked more like Earth. According to this material, there were beings that lived on Mars who then eventually kind of destroyed it and came down to Earth. And there's a whole history, a whole fascinating history. It's kind of like Star Trek when you start to get into it. It's really interesting. Dolores Cannon's books, fantastic. The Convoluted Universe series is great. Basically, she gets into the fact that what we know about the universe is much more convoluted than what we think. And there are so many entities out there that are communicating and helping and sort of seeding the planet and shifting DNA and like all this crazy stuff that's really, really, really interesting. And it's this sort of layer of reality that some people will look under and want to just dive head first in and get all the knowledge and get all the information. And some people don't really care too much about it, which is also fine. But I'm the kind of person who loves to hear and listen to and find out more knowledge and more information. And I like to learn. I see myself as a lifelong learner. I'll always be learning. And channel materials right now, I see as the best way to get some of this deep, deep knowledge. Some materials that I recommend are, all of Dolores Cannon's books are great. The raw material is good, but it's a difficult read in that the entity that is being channeled it's almost like talking to a supercomputer. So it's very technical when it gets into all of the wording and the numbers and like for example, instead of just saying like a human body, it calls it a mind-body-soul complex, because it sees the mind and the body and the soul as separate things that are then put together. And so it has all these different words for different things. And so you almost need like a dictionary to go through it and to learn from it. But it's very complex. And if you're an analytical mind and you like to figure things out, it's a great book that's full of just incredible knowledge. Bashar is fascinating. He channels a lot of higher intelligent beings out there that are trying to help this planet grow and ascend to the next level and make it without destroying ourselves. And that's actually one of the reasons why a lot of these channel materials come in, because of the time we live in right now. They're trying to help out so that we don't destroy ourselves, because we are teetering on the line of just all-out war or natural disaster that just really wipes the planet out. So then we got to start all over again. And it's taken us thousands of years to get to this point. So a lot of people, a lot of other beings out there are rooting for us to make it. And you know, I am too. Let's do this. I'm so down. Seth Speaks, great book. And Abraham Hicks, also a really awesome material. And a lot of these people you can just search YouTube for and see what resonates. You know, like some of these books I would get, but I just wouldn't feel like listening to them or reading them right away. And once the time came where all of a sudden I'm like hungry for this knowledge, and I just consume the entire thing. And right now that's Seth Speaks. It's really fun to listen to in an audiobook, because someone's narrating this person Seth, this character Seth, and the things he says is so interesting. Just talking about reality, the nature of consciousness, what we are, what he is, how all souls are connected, how him and the woman who is channeling, he refers to as a he, because in previous lifetimes they've had together, she has been a he, and he knows her as someone else. And it's just this awesome, 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 complex version of reality that I find to be really interesting. So check it out on your own if you feel called to. If not, that's cool too. Just you do you. And so that's a very basic introduction into channeling. I will record more videos about it if you guys are interested, and talk more about it and talk more about the knowledge that's come through, because that's the most interesting part about it. And take care of your mind, body, soul complexes. You can do whatever you want in life. Recognize that you create your reality at all times. Don't be a victim, always be empowered. Know that you can change, you can do whatever you want in this life. So let go of the past and move forward in life. Create your own reality, make it wonderful, make it beautiful. Thanks for watching.